Alright, I'm on my way out of work now. I figure I'll just go ahead and make this thing that I'm just going to be doing. Try to get used to talking in front of a camera again. But finished my, I don't want to say 12 hours because I didn't show up on time. But I still put in about 9.5 hours of work. Same thing I said this morning. Came in, didn't really do anything. Did maybe a couple cases, sat in front of the computer playing on my phone. This goes to show you that many of these jobs can just be done from home. They only do it so they can watch us, except we don't really have any kind of supervision. Our manager technically isn't even there on a later half of the week where I work. So my plan for the rest of the day, fold my clothes, maybe work on my comic book. I still gotta try to get in contact with a lawyer because this auction place stole things out of my truck, stole things on my truck. I don't know, I guess it really is hard to figure out exactly what to talk about. I hear a lot of people saying that they need to prepare to be homeless, and that's true. All of you should prepare to be homeless. What do you need to do to prepare to be homeless? Make sure you have as many assets as you possibly can that you own. So this might be like an extra vehicle. Maybe you have a truck that you're not paying for, or a van. If you do have access to a van and you're single, or maybe it's just you and your girl and you don't mind van life for a little bit, I suggest converting it into a camper, just so you have a space to live in, but just in case that you do go homeless, you got a place you can put a bed at, and you got a place where you can sleep. Not really home, but the goal is to have shelter for when shit hits the fan, when shit is going to hit the fan. I am hoping that Kamala Harris, when she gets in the White House, she's capable of doing great things. First black woman in the White House should do good things for everybody. But, you know, these are politicians. They will do and say whatever they need to say or do in order to get your vote. Remember, you don't matter to these people. You are just a vote to them. Things will be as bad as possible until election year comes around, where they might actually start listening to you. But things that you don't need, get rid of things you don't need. I know some of you might have like that 600-inch TV on your massive wall. Maybe sell that, because you're going to find out when you become homeless, and you might, right, with the way things are going. You're not going to be able to carry that, comically large TV with you. It's basically what I did. I had a 65-inch TV. It looked good when it was on the wall, but when you're homeless and you can't carry stuff like that, because right now I do have shelter with my mom. She's got an extra room, but she's going to be getting rid of the home at the end of the month and moving out of state. So I've got that room until, well, they turn the keys over, which is going to be at the end of this month. So I don't really know what I'm going to do yet, but I have been downsizing. I've been getting rid of a lot of collectibles. A lot of things that really do matter to me, but you learn that stuff like that becomes very difficult to keep around because you don't have the space for it. So the goal, try to acquire a camper. If I have to make it myself or buy one, don't got the money to do either. But my original plan is just hope I get lucky. I'm still hoping to get lucky. And if I do get lucky, that's the plan. Maybe I could put a 24-inch TV somewhere in the camper. That'll be big enough for that tiny space. Because the thing that people don't understand is that you have a home for one main reason. And that one main reason is to store your things. That's it. A lot of times you're not even in your house or your apartment. Right? You're at work or you're hanging out, and you only come back to sleep. So that basically tells me that a home is not really used for shelter. I mean, obviously it is. You sleep there at the end of the day, but you can really sleep anywhere. Right? You can sleep in your car. You can sleep. You can sleep outside if you want. I mean, we've been sleeping outside practically our entire evolutionary history. But when you've got a lot of stuff, you get a place that's big enough so you can put your stuff. And then if you start running out of stuff, or space specifically, once you start running out of space to put your stuff, then the next thing is to get a bigger place. So at some point, you have to just like admit to yourself. It's like, okay, I have too much shit, right? Now, I really don't have a lot. I've got a small Pokemon card collection that I might have to get rid of. I have a handful of plush dolls and stuff like that. Like, things that I don't want to get rid of yet. But like, if you're building a hut, for example, just to store your bananas, and you have to keep making a bigger hut to keep storing more of your bananas, is this car gonna let me over? Then at some point you have to just stop having so many bananas. It's not really a live within your means type of thing. I guess you can say it is that, but in order to live within your means, you have to have a set of means. Oh, there's debris in the road, okay? You have to have means to live within. I currently have no means to live. I am a career minimum wage employee. I don't want to work jobs that require me to do a lot of work, but these type of jobs really only get you minimum wage, and it really is hard to live a life where you're always constantly needing to get more things so that way you can have people convince you that I guess their lives matter, that they're on the top of the world too. I've never really cared about fashion, looking cool, or doing anything like that. I've always done things that I've wanted to do. So I might not have a lot of clothes, but I have a lot of things that mean a lot to me. And the one thing that I've learned in all this time in renting is that my ability to keep my things safe in an apartment or a home or whatever depends on, one, the economy being good, because you could lose your job for any reason. If you lose your job, like I was saying earlier, that kind of makes things go downhill very fast. So all of my personal belongings that I work for depend on the economy being strong, my job not laying off, or even the apartment complex, like them not evicting my apartment by accident, which does happen, right? There are people who get evicted by accident. Or you have to hope that the bank that owns the property suddenly doesn't go under, and they have to take back all those properties just to recoup their costs, which involves evicting everybody out. Now, states are supposed to have laws that stop this, but when it comes to, rich people, the law doesn't really apply to them, so they just do whatever they want. So my goal has been own as many things as possible. If I'm going to be homeless, and you can't ever control if you're going to be, you want to make sure that you do have a space that you can live in, and that the things that you do put in that space, I guess, somewhat matter to you, right? You still need entertainment, right? We live in modern times. Entertainment is a good way to keep yourself busy, reduce stress, right? So I play a lot of Pokemon, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not much nowadays because I just don't really have the time to do it, especially with how expensive gas is. Traveling to these places just to play is kind of tedious. But video games, right? TV. If I could just maintain a space that nobody is holding anything over me, then I'm happy, right? I own my truck, even though Title Max got me by the balls for this loan, right? This is my truck. And if I can get that camper, I'll own that too. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm romanticizing van life. Like, I don't want to have to do this, because a person who wants to do this should at least be willing to want to. I guess maybe I'm not saying it right, but like it shouldn't be your last resort. I'm doing it as a last resort because rent prices they're absurd. Nobody can afford to pay rent right now. My corporate Amazon job just doesn't pay enough. Like I was saying earlier, I don't have any real major responsibility. It's practically just me. And I can't even live out here. If I can recover my life, I can recover my time, then I could do more things that I want to do. Like, I've been putting a lot of thought into this 5v5 PvP game I want to do. And I don't really know if I want to do it yet, because like I'm one of those type of people where I really only get one chance to fail. So I have to be careful at the one thing I decide to do. And there are a lot of one things that I want to do. But I think making a mobile game and making it not predatory can work. I want to show people the correct way to make a mobile game. There is a correct way to make a mobile game. But I guess it is kind of easy to take advantage of people. You know how the type of psychology they use for these types of games. It's hard out here right now. I probably lost my original point somewhere at the ramble. Like I said, I want to get used to talking in front of cameras again, so I'm just going to do this every day. I got to go to work, come home from work. What was I talking about, though? I think it was like preparing to be homeless. Yeah. If you got things that you don't need, anything that's not crucial to your survival, like I'm not saying get rid of everything. You don't want to do that. You work hard for your things. If you have a job that you're not on bad terms with, keep your job. If you have a good landlord, keep your landlord. But you're going to have to want to be careful, because anything can happen, right? Your landlord might be the sweetest person in the world, but if the bank that they took the mortgage out from goes under, they're going to foreclose on your house. Doesn't matter how good a tenant you are, you're just gone, because the bank at the end of the day only cares about them. You have a space, you got an extra vehicle, see if you can convert it into a living space. If you can get rid of your car, get rid of any car notes, any obligations, you should do it. Own as much as you can. I would say keep as much money in cash as possible. I know that's going to be hard to do. It's just so convenient to have a card. But with banks going under, and they keep doing so, you don't want to lose. Oh shit. You want to make sure that your money's safe. I know they say most people or everyone should be insured up to $250,000 in the bank, but you should have no reason to trust that. The government says they'll do a lot of things for people, and then when it comes time for them to do those things, they don't do it. You want to be as safe as possible. Money is hard to keep, or cash is hard to keep, but I'm getting into the habit of taking as much out as possible and putting it in cash, because at least at the end of the day, cash has to be accepted everywhere in America. No ands, if, or buts. It is legal currency. So what does this mean for you? Well, if your situation is good, don't worry about it. Just maintain it. If you can save some money, save it. If you are single, no kids like I am, and you have no major debts, I suggest downloading Robinhood or whatever place you want to get to buy stocks, and just throw some money in stocks. It doesn't matter what stocks you get. S&P 500 is always a good thing. Is this financial advice? No, but yeah, I guess, right? That's basically what I'm doing. I put a little bit of money every week into my Robinhood account, and I tell them to buy stocks. I'm buying Ford and a bunch of weed stocks. You don't have to do that. but that's just where all my investments are going. And I'm not putting like hundreds of dollars a week in. Like, I put just a little bit in. I think like maybe 50 or 60. I have to look, because I did change some things. But I put just a little bit in the markets. Even throw 10 bucks at Dogecoin every once in a while, because why not? Maybe Elon will say something stupid and it'll blow up, or it'll tank again. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how the stock market works. And that's the most infuriating thing ever. They tell you to invest in the stock market, and you can't really, right? They got a bunch of rules that say you have to do this, can't do that. Like, I didn't even know what a pattern day trader was. Like, can you imagine that? Being told, well, because you don't have more money in the markets, you can't trade like everybody else. Well, what a system, right? We can fix it. We can fix it. It's going to require things that nobody wants to do. But, you know, these people that run the world, they're not going to have to live in this world in like 5 to 10 years. Many of them are on their way out. We are, though. We are going to have to live in this world for like the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Maybe 60. Hell, some of you might even be lucky and get 70. If you are a millennial and you can live to be like 112, then like, my God. I suppose it's possible, but with all the microplastics and shit in our bodies and the degradation of our DNA, and food is just not as nutritious anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that. So for some of you who just have bad teeth and can't figure out why you brush and floss every day, it's not your fault. Literally, the food that we are eating is less nutritious than the food that people were eating. Right? We don't rotate our crops, so the topsoil just goes. We are ravaging this world, and the people that control it don't want to. Like, they don't want to admit that, you know, we are the problems, us humans. Maybe I'm just rambling now. I probably am just rambling. You know, I'm on my way back to where I need to be, but maybe something will change. Maybe I'll get lucky. It's not that I hate work. I don't mind working, right? Every day is work. When I'm drawing on my comic book, it's work. Or I'm playing a video game, like, that's work too, right? Anything that takes time plus effort, I believe, is work. Hell, even driving this car is work, right? I gotta make sure that it doesn't veer off the road and cause damage, because that'll be a bad thing that'll happen, especially for me. I don't have insurance, can't afford it, but my job makes me go to work every single day. I know the government can't force me to have it. I just need to be able to prove financial responsibility. But you gotta remember, most people out here don't know the laws. Hell, I don't even know the laws. I just come across things sometimes like, oh, okay, and then maybe that'll be good enough for me. I'll do a little bit of research on it. But these cops out here, I'm not saying they're all bad, but they'll try you. They can identify a person who knows the law, who kind of knows it, and who doesn't. They're hoping most people don't know it, or that if they do know it, they kind of know it. Because a person will just respond to police officers like, well, subsection blah, 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 just that says that, you know, this. They go, I didn't know that. It wasn't clear. But they just cited some other code because they know you don't know. You got to be a little more sharp than that nowadays. But I just try to stay in my lane. I've always stayed in my lane. I don't venture out too far. I don't mess around with people unnecessarily. I don't do anything like that. And even I'm struggling. I've always struggled. Right? Maintaining a minimum wage job with a roommate was always good enough. 28 to 34 hours a week is usually closer to the 28. But that was all I needed in order to in order to maintain just an apartment. Well, there was still never enough money, because if either one of you lost your job, then it comes down on everybody. But that was when I was what, 21, 22, 36 now. And I am homeless again. And they'll find a way to blame me for it. I suppose I could work harder, right? I could. But why? Hard work doesn't work. Nobody gets to where they are in life because they worked hard. You always have to know somebody, and it was mostly having to know somebody. Like, I remember when I was, 17, 18, and my mom was going out to do a job search for me. She could not believe that, she couldn't believe that, like, they just weren't giving out applications anymore. You have to do it online. Right? The world is a lot different than the world that they grew up in. They say we waste money on unnecessary things, and we do. But the world is different now. They'll tell you, do not buy that $1,500 iPhone. They'll get mad at you for buying that $1,500 iPhone. Why buy a phone you can't afford? But then these people will have like millions of shares in Apple. Well, maybe you stop buying Starbucks every day. It's like, okay, how many shares do you have in Starbucks? Oh, I've got a couple million. They want you to buy the products and just consume endlessly, but then gaslight you when you consume. Because the one thing nobody talks about is how this country just hates public education. This country hates educated people. I tell people you can't get mad at poor people for acting like poor people. You can't throw rampant advertisement at people, at uneducated people, mind you, and then get mad at them when they spend all their money on things you are telling them they have to have. We know you just bought the 2024 Ford F-150, but you gotta have the 2025 F-150. You gotta have it. Your iPhone 68 has got nothing on the iPhone 69, you know? You gotta have this new iPhone, this new thing all the time. My truck is an 07 F-150. Not even 154,000 miles on it. This truck is 17 years old. It'll probably break down or something, but I'll just fix it. Why do I need to buy a brand new truck? What, you'll spend $5,000 on a new engine? Why not just get a new truck? I mean, I could do that, but I used that $5,000 for the down payment, and now I'm locked in the payments for the next 8 years. When all I had to do was take that $5,000 and just put a brand new engine in this truck. People don't know how to think. People don't know how to have just enough. If you all saw how much or how little I actually own, and then see how relatively happy I am. Like, I don't hate my life. I'm relatively okay with my life. I just kind of hate the circumstances of it, you know? All the things I can't control. I just want to be left alone. That's all I want to do. I don't mind working for another person. I just don't want to give you 12 hours of my time when it's doing nothing to better me, right? Like, coworkers get surprised when I tell them that I'm homeless. Okay, well, I have no idea what this person is doing. All right, I'm just gonna go around. But they look at me like I'm crazy. It's like, there's no way, really? Yeah, I don't look like a homeless person. I mean, well, outside of the nappy hair and like the messed up beard right now. But, well, I guess I'm here at shelter. So I'll just go ahead and end this. I'll upload it anyway. I'll get better at this. Everybody have a good day. Prepare to be homeless. Smoke some weed. Look at some porn. Play video games. Fuck the system. Yeah.